Hey everyone, welcome to the MDM Minute. Today's all about conscious creation. What is conscious creation? Conscious creation is the ability to have foresight on something you want to create or bring into fruition. And this is a question I get asked a lot. And I'm going to use the Somna Machina sleep machine. It's a forthcoming product from the MDM team. And this particular product has been on the drawing board for about 4 months now. And I've received several prototype units which have gone out into the world. And I want to use this as an example of conscious creation. So probably about 6 months ago, in the middle of developing the TR line, I was always thinking about another product to kind of bring into balance, bring into the world. And, you know, I had a lot of problems sleeping, where I would continuously wake up at 4 in the morning, almost like clockwork, for a very, very long time. And then I'd be up staring at the ceiling for half hour, an hour, and I'd go back to sleep. It's time to get up. You're like, you don't want to get up because your body isn't well rested. So I started kind of thinking, I said, all right, well, how can I create something that the world's never seen before? And I want to use crystals, believe it or not. And I started thinking about it. And, you know, the Mer compass rose kept coming back up in my head. And as I'm downloading this information, you know, the Mer compass rose has a compass rose on it. And I was kind of like, well, you know, can I utilize something like that? Then True North came into my head. I was like, wow, so I would have a dial that you would point to True North. But it has to use gemstones. So, you know, I settled on 8 of them. And then there has to be something up high that kind of brings all of that power together. And the Merkaba star, hand-carved quartz crystal Merkaba star. But underneath the coupler that turns, there needs to be something. And I was thinking about moldavite, right? And this is just my creation process. So I was thinking about moldavite. I was like, oh, you know, I don't want to keep people up. Moldavite is an extremely powerful tool, as you know, if you have one of the TRs. So I was like, what else can I use? I was like, diamonds, you know, and I was thinking, like, use those fake diamonds, and then it hit me. It was the Herkimer diamonds, and they sit underneath the rotator coupler, and they balance everything out. So, you know, this is a big launch, and there's a lot of bits and pieces that have to be done. And, you know, there's a lot of schools of thought in how we're going to go about actually, you know, getting this particular product out in the world. So that's how conscious creation works for me. It's time the universe is telling me there's another product on the horizon. You have to work for it. So you go through the mechanics in your head of how you're going to work for it, and then boom, you get the download, and everything just kind of falls into place, and you go on with your product creation. Conscious creation is slightly different for everyone else, but the principles are always the same. So what are the principles in conscious creation? You have to love what you do. Okay, so if you're at a job that you absolutely hate, leave it. Be brave. Walk out the door and trust in knowing that the universe will support you and carry you. You know, conscious creation doesn't come to people that think inside the box. It comes to people that have the capacity to think outside the box, to step outside your comfort zone and push the envelope of what is possible. So the first step in conscious creation is finding what you love to do. Because when you love what you're doing, you, believe it or not, are spreading more of that love and vibration into the world. And that's what the game is all about. once you figure out what you love to do, if you into creating something. Now, when I say conscious creation, that can be creating your reality, or that can be creating physical products that will do something absolutely marvelous and wonderful in the world. And you just, as you move through it, you kind of figure these little points out and what works for you. Loving what you do is key number one. Key number two is finding your passion within that love. Okay? You can love doing a lot of things. Doesn't mean you want to do them. But when you love something and you're passionate about it, you then become driven to see whatever it is in life you're doing through to the end. Love, passion, that drive to compete. And trusting that, your path will always lead to the end goal of whatever it is you're trying to consciously create. And in the experience, when you're working towards that goal because you love to do it, you're passionate about it, and now you're driven, okay? Not motivated, not inspired, but driven, okay? When you're driven, you are unstoppable, and that will help propel you along, that path. And in all of this, when you're stepping outside that box, the universe is taking notice because you're vibrating higher. When you vibrate higher, the universe always takes notice. And synchronicities will start to happen, okay? If you have an issue with something, that you're working towards, and you don't have a valid solution, the universe will come by and take it out. One way or another, you will get through it. If you are driven, you're passionate, you love what you do, you will always get through it. So that conscious creation, again, I talked about, these are just words and feelings, but when you are in there and that conscious creation is happening, there's this energy that emulates from you. And people notice it in a lot of the videos that I do, especially when I'm announcing a new product or something like that. I'm typically shaven, my hair is gelled back, I'm in front of a black screen in my studio, and I'm spot on. It's not scripted. I would venture to say that I've only used a script maybe once, possibly twice. Everything I do is just generated from the heart. A lot of times when I'm in the zone, words just flow, and it is what it is. So, in that conscious creation stream, outside the box. Now, people always ask me, well, how do you get outside the box? It's easy. Leave the job you hate. What the fuck is the point of staying someplace that is killing you emotionally, physically, and then the rhetorical but, and this is always out of fear, folks. You're thinking right now, what am I going to do for money? Right. Find your passion, or find what you love, be passionate about it, be driven, and the universe takes care of all that, okay? And it's easy for me to say that. It really is, because I've experienced it. I left, okay, a 20-year career in technology for one of the world's largest banks. 20 years working on Wall Street, okay? Think about that, in technology. You accrue a mad skill set working with some of the smartest and the brightest people on the planet. And I left, okay? I left back in 2015 because I had had enough. I was done. I couldn't do it anymore. I was cooked up. It was killing me. And in knowing that I was leaving, that's where, I've always been driven about what I've been doing. I've always been, I always loved, and I'm talking about, the MDM, everything MDM, powered by self-empowerment technology. But when I made that conscious decision to leave the fucking job I hate, the whole world changed. Everything changed. So conscious creation always starts with a love of what you do. You become passionate about it. That moves into being driven. And onwards and upwards you go. And whatever it is, if you want to weave baskets, if you want to help people, the universe will provide for you as long as you have the capacity to think outside the box and fully accept and understand, where you're going. It ultimately is going to spread more love and light in the world. That's when the universe will come in and help you. And when you're playing and moving into those higher octaves, so going back to the Somna Machina, I very rarely spend time worrying about how I'm going to get to the final product. I am consistently evolving the final product in my mind, constantly. And as I am always focused on that end goal, in the moment, the product design can be tweaked, the packaging can be tweaked, and the more times you consciously create, the easier the process gets. I've done 30 product launches in 27 months, maybe 26 months. Almost 30 product launches. How's that possible? Well, it's possible because once I got over, the hard part doing it the first time, and trusting in the universe is going to provide me with absolutely everything I need, the rest just becomes easy. It just becomes so. Love what you do. Be passionate. That turns into driven. Have the capacity to think outside the box. Paramount. Leave the job you absolutely hate and embrace what you love. Just embrace what you love. Take a leap of faith and push the fucking envelope for all it's worth. Life can be about embracing the experience and thriving, or it can be about embracing nothing and surviving. I choose to thrive and move forward. And it's again, a lot of people aren't in the mindset, obviously, that I'm in, but I'm giving you the building blocks to start a revolution, and that turns into an evolution in your life. Never fear. Have no fear. Fear will keep you stuck. It's a catch-22. It will keep you stuck. Love what you do. Be passionate about it. That turns into driven. Think outside the box. Start a revolution that will turn into an evolution. And ultimately, your conscious creation will happen. Thanks, folks. Have an awesome day.